Hi there, it's Sandy, your sister and your friend. Welcome to today's video. It's mid-June 2025, and I'll start this video like I've started every other one in 2025, which is to state the obvious. Man, are we in a time of chaos? Right now we have armies of, and this has been for a while, armies of one nation that are fighting armies of another nation because they were commanded to do so by the leaders of their countries. Just recently, we heard that Israel bombed Iran and that the U.S. president was upset that that happened. And then the next day, we found out that the U.S. president actually had given the green light for that to occur. And then we heard that the reason Israel is bombing Iran is because they want to prevent Iran from using nuclear weapons. And we have to question if that's the truth, because that's the same story or similar story we were told about our reason for the U.S. to get involved in a war in Iraq was because the leaders there they had weapons of mass destruction. And of course, years later, we found that that was just a ruse for us to involve the U.S. military in a war there, as opposed to it being the truth. So in my opinion, all the drama and this theater that we're actually seeing play out in front of us should make us very skeptical about the things that we're told that are happening. There are a lot of false flags that are created to distract us from seeing what's really going on behind the curtain. There are shadow forces in high places, and they're ramping up their agendas and their strategies to create more chaos in order for them to try to maintain dominance here in this world. But they're losing control because we are waking up. When we take the time to be honest with ourselves, we know that we have been conditioned to believe that one side or the other is the right side. And once we see the fallacy in that, we'll stop picking one side to hate or to blame for what's going on. We don't need to believe every thought that passes through our mind or every idea that's put forward by those who are in charge. Most of these ideas are actually attempts to try to send out shock waves of fear, to make us fearful for our very lives. And as long as we see each other as the enemy, the forces operating in the shadows will not be challenged. But because we are waking up, we're not easy targets anymore for fear-mongering. We know that divine timing is always operating, and the spiritual significance of this increased chaos is to transform the duality of this world into unity consciousness. Tribal separation and conflicts will ultimately collapse because people on both sides are suffering. We will eventually all wake up to the realization that we are all brothers and sisters in one family, God's family. And as we awaken through self-realization and reflection, we will discover that there's only one voice that we can always trust, and that is the voice of the Spirit of God who lives inside each of us. And since the Spirit is always reminding us of our oneness with our Creator and with each other, it never instructs us to pick duality over oneness consciousness. So it's reasonable for us to be curious about what's going on and to observe what the stories are that are being told. But once we observe the theatrics in this world, if we observe it from a high vibrational level, that's where we really need to stay and keep our attention. Sometimes if we fall down and we get involved in the 3D world, the events, it's a very dense energy, and we'll feel that we've actually stepped back in terms of our progression in consciousness. All we need to do is to just make a new decision and do that from a higher point of reality, higher reality. It is our job to neutralize the polarity game by staying anchored in love. Love is the way that we can influence thousands of people. And when we join our hearts together, we have an exponential impact on lifting the energy of the entire universe, maybe all the multiverses. Our collective vibration stretches far beyond the possible reach of manipulation. You are an amazing part of God's plan to make this change happen. Your prayers and meditations greatly impact the whole world. As you hold the image of people uniting beyond their differences, you actually activate and dissolve the dark thought forms that sustain the conflicts that we're seeing right now. So as you transcend the chaos, your high vibrational energy serves every living creature on the earth. You know that you're deeply connected to the earth's energy and every living being through the divine energy flowing through you. And you are both a receiver and a transmitter of this divine energy. It's important for us not to lose our focus, but remember that we serve a great purpose in being on the earth during this time of ascension. When we get still and listen, we will receive great downloads of information from our higher self about what still needs to be acknowledged and released from inside our very selves. We will learn of emotions that we stored up that want to come out of darkness into the light, and we have to release and let go of those things that are stuck in our dense cellular energy. So this is a time to allow everything to be seen from a place of love, not judgment. And as we welcome old pent-up emotions, we will be cleansed of the old ways of thinking and acting, old neural pathways that we have developed ruts in our mind because we've been succumbed to what we've been told to think. But those will be overridden when we choose new neural pathways and we begin to make choices from a higher level of consciousness, which enables us to respond rather than to react to things that used to trigger us. This is an opportunity to move from judgment or ego to unconditional love. Now, we find as we are doing this, we'll find great pleasure in practicing the presence of God. It is our joy to set aside time in the morning and in the evenings to allow ourselves to be restructured with consciousness from a higher dimension. Our work in this process is to organically surrender our higher being to our Creator. As we allow this restructuring to occur, we will become more aware of angels and other transcended beings, ascended masters, who are there to help us. We'll be more apt to ask for help and to ask for wisdom as we face challenges. We'll know that we are not alone and we have never been separated from our Creator. This inner knowing leads us to a life of praise and thanksgiving, which opens up pathways for even more of God's light to enter, which transforms our DNA to a more crystalline structure. So in a nutshell, it is our responsibility or responsibility to invite and allow everything to be exactly as it is. We unconditionally love everything that presents itself to us. Unconditional love places no demands on anyone else to change. We notice the chaos, but we don't resist it and we don't interact with it. Those with whom we interact will have the opportunity to transform as they experience our unwavering love and our authenticity and our trust in knowing them as our brothers and sisters and treating them just exactly the way that we know that they truly are. And if they choose to wake up during our interaction with them they will move into the highest, best reality that they've ever experienced in their lives. And we know this because they yearn for peace just as much as we do. And as we continue our own transformation, which is what this time is all about, we will reflect more truth and love into the world. And when we are authentic and step into our true power, everyone in the world will be free to mirror what they see in us. This is a grand time to be here, folks, my brothers and sisters. I love you so much. I hope that you're going to have a wonderful, blessed time. And if this was meant something for you, I'd love it if you would subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment. I love you so much. I'm so glad to be here at this time with you. You're awesome. Thanks. Bye-bye.